Hey, beautiful people, and welcome to the Divinely Inspired Conversations podcast. Welcome. It's our inaugural episode. My name is
Mhm.
Jared, and I'm joined today by Enya.
Hi guys, my name is Enyo, and I just usually do tarot and really into spirituality and stuff. So, this is right up my alley. Very in tune with things and sensitive and passionate about life. And I'm really excited to share my point of view on these topics here with you guys today. Thank you.
And I'm also here with Travis.
Hi guys, I'm Travis. So I'm a black sheep in so many areas. I'm queer, I'm highly sensitive, I'm really introverted, and I'm just here to help bring healing, love, and navigate this crazy soul journey and and try to make it in somehow through grace and ease. So this is why I'm here, and I just can't wait to share that with you guys.
Nice. And once again, I'm Jared. I'm an engineer by trade. I have a love for understanding human behavior, nature, crystals, and just generally the exploration of the why and digging deeper into why. I got into this spirituality space because it really allowed me the opportunity to not only explore my own feelings in a meaningful way, but also to teach myself a lot of the lessons that, well, hopefully I can share on these podcasts and, just help me really understand and connect with other people. Yeah. So just generally now, the three of us, we're all theatre practitioners with a love for healing and assisting and facilitating a space for healing. So generally, we would typically have these kinds of conversations amongst ourselves. And we thought that we would share these conversations with you guys and see if it aligns with what you may be feeling or going through right now, see if we can help. So today our talk is going to be on growth. We generally growth is personal growth comes with some form of reflection that in order to move past a particular obstacle that we may be facing, we we feel the need to adapt our behavior or change the way we think. And we think that generally this must be done only through challenge. Well, today in our talks, we're going to challenge that. We're going to talk a little bit about how we have grown, the circumstances that made us grow, and how we can adapt our thinking and change our thinking. How does growth happen? How does this reflection happen? All right. So let's just jump straight into it, guys. You ready?
Yeah, we're ready. What?
Okay. So Travis, you want to share?
Yeah, Jared, when you first mentioned the growth, I didn't resonate with it so much because I just my first concept of growth was that like life is happening very smoothly, this linear path. That concept of growth for me it never felt aligned, and I just kind of feel we as society hold that perception where growth is meant to be this, this linear pathway, and we're supposed to have all our goals achieved by this age and stuff like that. And just being such a black sheep, and I just felt so isolated from everyone else in terms of their ideologies of growth. My relationship with growth it always felt very different. It's kind of like all I felt was like life lessons, endless life lessons, like it felt as though I had to grow through suffering. So that's kind of what I felt. So I want to share that. I want to share what my relationship with the growth has been throughout my entire life and why did I feel the need to grow through this way? Because luckily we all know that no, luckily that's we no longer need to have to go through these lessons. So it's kind of why we decided to become theater healing practitioners. So I want to talk about that, what that was like for me. So really and truly, I did feel like life was a constant contest of challenges, and it's like, why the hell would anybody choose to be gay and highly introvert? Just the perfect, like, it almost felt like the perfect misfit for society is like nothing about me felt right for society, and to uh live that life everybody loves to kind of basically display. So, it just was such like triggering thing to have to go through for many, many years. It made me question like am I even here on this planet? You know, luckily, I didn't. It did not like drive me to like suicide. But I'll be honest, if it was not for like things like healing and stuff, I think I would have a lot more. I would have had a lot more, like suicidal tendencies. However, what I want to share is I didn't even need to have that because life was already so challenging that I would manifest all these illnesses, sicknesses, and stuff. So I kind of felt sick throughout my whole life. So I want to talk about that and just it being such a challenging experience. So I'll just like being queer, right? That alone is just something immeasurably challenging. So if I could just share a little bit on that, why would anybody in their right mind, and when we come into consciousness, we realize that the soul did this. It's like we did this to ourselves on a soul level. It becomes kind of more frustrating, So I really want to, yeah, just it became really more frustrating, and I just kind of have to share that the beautiful insights we got here was that the soul chose this because ultimately, ultimately, this was such a beautiful lesson to uncover because ultimately, like being queer is actually asking the universe, hey, I realized that hey, I wanna actually learn what unconditional love is. I wanna learn to love myself more and more and more. So I decided to learn through this extremely painful path where the I just somehow obligated the entire world. The entire world hates me, right? It's as Anya was mentioning earlier, the stuff before our podcast, the challenges of it. And yeah, it's so oppressive right now. It just kind of feels like we weren't meant to be here. We don't belong here. That's just one aspect. It's just such a beautiful lesson to come home to self-love, just because of um it creates such isolation. Yeah, yeah.
Yes, Travis, I'm so sorry to interject here, but I just wanted to clarify something. So you
Mm-hmm.
think by a soul experience coming here on earth and being queer, you think you kind of obligated the world to put you in a box or to make you feel like you are an outcast, and in that way you had to learn to grow, and your lesson with growth would have been trying to triumph through that experience of feeling like you're not in your right mind, because you use that phrase and that kind of struck out to me. I was
Mm-hmm.
like, so who are you to decide, or who is society to decide that your right mind is being a specific way? I think that
Mm-hmm.
that's something that we need to explore as a consciousness, that what does the exact term being in your right mind mean? And but I'm listening to
Mm-hmm.
you and I want to know what, like, the question that I have really is like your experience with growth, right? How does that relate to being gay? That's the question.
Thanks so much. Thanks so much, Dave, for clarifying, because I was fully rambling on there. But yeah, that's what being one. I'd say it's one of the first things I've had to like go through. You know, it's that alone was such a struggle, especially because that was a humongous deciding factor as a teen, just trying to navigate life and been kind of taught by society that it's wrong to be who I am. And, I just had to learn how to go through that. And, it's been
Like
really
how
tough. Uh, well,
what was
mhm,
the deciding factors for you that you can measure, that you said that I'm grown or healed from feeling
yeah.
as like an outcast and stuff like that?
Yeah, it's such a good question. Yeah, I'm so grateful now that we have the theater healing where I get to connect fully with God, and I get to know God's truth of worthiness, that it really, really wasn't ever, there's no way that we can never, ever, ever, ever not be worthy. That basically that's what I got. We always were, and we always will be, no matter what. There's never any deciding factors, as you mentioned, like from society or anything like that, which could ever diminish our worth in any way. In fact, we're so much more worthy than we think. So it really is that insight, not just the insight, the feeling, the love, the acceptance from divine, which brings in the healing interest, and it reinforces my belief in myself and my worth. So that really helped to build a stronger foundation that, hey, I'm not unworthy just because society decided that, that, but actually it's the opposite, and my worthiness can never ever be measured by anybody else. It has nothing to do with them. It's none of their business, really. It's between me and God. And it really is, if God says, decides, and basically declares that I always was, or always will be, then who am I to, like, stand in my own way of that? So that really was the deciding, a strong foundational belief I was able to experience. So so I hope that answered the question. So that was definitely one of the hardest things I have had to go through. And then it just became lesson after lesson. So you guys can stop me if I'm going overboard. But the next thing was being very introverted and just struggling to socialize in general. It was such a humongous struggle to socialize. I've been a sponge to people. I didn't have any personality, any essence of my own, really. So I've had to kind of learn to grow through being an extroverted, an introvert in a highly extroverted, male-dominated world. And I know it's a very common feeling, because I think all women feel like that. It's very male dominated. But I just feel like no matter the gender, it's very masculine dominated. And it felt like there wasn't any space for introverted people to just do introverted stuff and be left alone to our devices and our peace, because we operate so differently. It's like we just value peace and just balance, harmony. All I ever wanted to be in life was happy. Then I came into this extroverted world and realized there's so many mind games, societal games around having to be popular and having all the links and having the connections that gets you up in life. And that it really is the only thing which matters to our society now, as you mentioned in earlier. As a collective, we have a lot to work on. So imagine trying to navigate that. So I've had to learn to go through that, and it really, really brought me. It's bringing me still. It really brought me to self-acceptance, having to practice more of that as often as possible to get just to be okay with who I am as an individual, and not feel the compelling needs to be tied down to having myself, my image incorporated. Having this well built up social profile, because that never ever resonates with me. And it does in an egotistical way. Okay, so it does, but it never resonated with me. So I've had to go through that, and I am so that what makes me enjoy the growth process so much. Just being able to, you know, come to terms with acceptance and just not having to conform to society, because it made me feel that I was who I am just as an existence. It just made me feel like it's valid. So that was my process on growth, guys. So
Wow, that's powerful.
thank you so much. So
Yeah.
I just can't wait to hear you guys as now.
Before we jump on, I just wanted to ask, so
Hmm.
Travis, just linking the two, right? There was so much that you shared, and I just didn't want to interrupt because I was just so enthralled with everything that you were saying there. It's such a beautiful story, and
Thank you
it's
so
just so
much.
sad. Yeah, no problem. It's just so sad that growing up in any identifying in any way is already so difficult, and it's even made harder when you feel like you can't just be yourself because the world doesn't accept you, and you can't you feel like a certain pressure, what is, it felt so, I was so saddened when I heard that, you just thought, what is wrong with me, as opposed to what is wrong with society, you know and you targeted the hatred that was coming externally inward. And I think that, through your growth, at least in the initial phases, that you felt the hatred was coming from within. Why can't I just be what everybody else is? And I just wanted to hear a little bit more about what are the ways or the tips, or how can you recommend that people who may be going through the same thing, how can they grow past this phase? What is something that you did that you would recommend to others?
Yeah, thanks so much. I appreciate that. Yeah, so yeah, as you guys could tell, it's really intense. When you feel as though your existence itself is on attack, it's like a personal. You just kind of feel like you're being up, yeah, you're being personally attacked for just your existence, and it's so crazy and it's so intense. I would say, well, this is why I became a healer, and I would say the meditation really helps. More self-compassion, more self-love. I would say please know that who you are as a person, it really is valid. Every part of you is valid. I would say that we're really all meant to come home to love, and because everything in life really is a giving and receiving of love, it's meant to be that way. So I would say the sooner we learn to have more love and self-compassion, is the sooner we can just begin to transcend all of these struggles around growth.
And one more thing, like, what would what would life have looked like if we refused to grow, in your opinion? Would it have been harder? Would it have been easier? Do you think you would have conformed? What would it have looked like?
Yeah, like
I,
why do we need to grow? Like what's important there?
I appreciate that so much. So yeah, life would have been a nightmare, guys. Imagine living your whole life just feeling like God hates you, society hates you, you're just not meant to be here, and you just feel like why was I even born in the first place? This crippling anxiety, insane depressions. It's like a whole plethora of you know um unwellness, I would say, is the reason why you wanna step into more places of wellness and find beautiful, amazing souls like these guys here to connect with, who actually I still have no idea how you guys just love me so easily and unapologetically, but it's the best feelings ever. And I would say find more amazing souls like that and raise a vibrate it really naturally raises your vibration to meet souls, and regardless you're worthy no matter what.
And you have anything else to ask Travis?
No, that was really beautiful. And it looks like that makes so much sense, everything that he said. And it looks like his life would have really looked like not so good if he refused to grow. And I think by taking on that path of growth, it's, as you relate to us, it was a big lesson that I learned here. I think it correlates closely with healing. And that's a powerful thing that I had to digest on. It's like, wow, growth is healing. It is healing to grow. And it is important that we do, because if you don't, you stay stuck in that mindset, stuck in that reality that you are not happy with. And it really does suck, sorry, to stay in that kind of mood for a while, because when it's my turn to share, I do resonate with, what it means to stay stuck and not grow, and share my story in regards to that. So that's it. Yeah.
Thank you so
Well,
much, guys.
before we get into your side, and yeah, and I just wanted to say that, Travis, you said that you don't know what it was that made you so lucky to find people who just accept you, and I don't even think that people need to be lucky in order. I think everybody should just accept people and not see them for what they identify as or their sexuality or anything. That is not important. My friend is Travis. I love who Travis is, and that's all that I see him as. My friend who is so compassionate and understanding and emotionally intelligent. It has nothing to do with anything else that he identifies as or he likes. That's his business. Why do people input their own insecurities and hatred onto others? But I might be going past the scope of this
Yeah, that's
episode.
a different topic altogether that we'll touch on later on in podcasts.
Yeah, so
But
Travis, having yeah.
I do think it's related to fear. Like
Yeah.
that's what that is. But anyway, we'll get into that in future episodes.
Yeah. So Travis, anything else before we pivot over to Enya and ask her opinion?
Yeah, I just appreciate this so much. It wasn't what I intended to speak about, but it just came out, and I hope it helps people out there. And if you need someone to reach out to, please reach out. We put links and stuff on the YouTube so you can find us, so we could just build a better, a community that is more full of love.
Yeah, thank you so much for that, Travis. So, Anya, what are your thoughts on growth? Let's hear about this feeling of being stuck.
Well, yeah, a lot has been my life similar to Travis has been, and I think not just Travis. I feel like there's a lot of souls out there that, you know, they have it tough. I think a lot of people in this world do have their own form of struggle in one way or the next. And nobody is to judge, and nobody should judge their struggle and think it's less than someone else's. I think all struggle is the same. I think all difficulty, all misfortune is the same. Once you feel that emotion of grief, once you feel that emotion of depression, that emotion of anxiety, sadness, those are very, very difficult emotions to work through. And my relationship to growth in general, just like Travis, I got super triggered when Jared said, let's do growth as if it's topic. I was like, oh, growth? What the hell? Like, I just felt like, okay, I don't know much or resonate much with it because, again, something that Travis said really did struck out to me. And he was like, a lot of the time when we think about growth, we think of it being linear, and it's something that society has pushed on us, like on our consciousness. It's like embedded there. It's like, oh, we just supposed to go to school and then we'll graduate and then we'll date successfully and then we'll get married and then we'll have a family and then we have like a whole perfect life in inverted commas, right? That's for some, and then for others, it's different. But I think growth is directly correlated to measuring to our success. And I think that when you don't feel like you're accomplishing certain goals and successes in your life, you feel like you're a failure. And my lesson or relationship with growth is the exact opposite. I think now my whole perspective on understanding about growth is that it's accomplishing or overcoming hurdles. So it might be just waking up in the morning tomorrow in a good mood. To me, that's growth. Because for the past few days and weeks, I've been waking up in the same blah mood over and over. And I feel stuck. That's where the stuck energy is. One of our reflection points for this topic is, what's the hardest phase of growth in your life? And I feel this stage that I'm in coming out, I'm 29, guys, just sharing my age here with you guys on this platform, but I am getting into my 30s, and the 20s for me has been a roller coaster ride, from failed relationships to, let's just say, traumatic experience with family life. Those are some of the struggles and stuff that I've been through. Again, we should never compare our stuff to others. But for me, it's been hard. And I know it's hard for everyone else because everyone has their story and everyone has their perspective that they will kind of project onto other people. And that's why we compare, because we walk around like big projectors, just projecting things onto others. But, growth for me is becoming evolved. Growth for me is learning how to overcome challenges in a day-to-day basis. And right now is as simple as probably getting a morning routine. I keep hearing how important that is. And to me, my life has none. I will sleep until the last minute before I need to clock in for work, and then walk 5 minutes before I work from home. So I'm very blessed in that aspect. But I will get off my bed and walk 5 minutes before the time to clock in. And that's horrible. Like, I didn't even like get ready for the day, or, and I mean, that's embarrassing to admit, but that's the level of, I don't want to call it depression, but level of frustration, I guess, I feel in my life right now. Is just that, I feel like it's hard for me to get over this hurdle. And I've been struggling, especially with weight loss. That's the next thing I wanted to grow into with my life, and I feel like I needed to grow in that way as well. And I just have not as well. And I think a big part of not having a routine and doing things in a specific way to feel like I'm growing is remaining stuck where I am, because it feels safe. It feels safe. It feels like, you know what? I don't know what that other part of life has in store for me. I've already been hurt. And I feel like if I do that, I can expose myself to becoming hurt again. And I think I have not healed a couple things I needed to heal in respect, to that. I think once I heal the whole fear of being hurt and stuff, and being disappointed or failing, because that's also linked to fear of failure, I most likely might embrace more growth into my life. And that's why I approach this topic with an angle of, I'm not feeling like I'm growing at this moment with respect to those things. Some people may beg to differ, because the external world may know me and say, oh my gosh, what are you talking about? You got a degree, you moved a country, you bought yourself your first place. And they may look at my life on an external level and think that, oh, that person probably has it together. But internally, I don't feel like that, and I feel stuck because I don't meet my specific small goals that I've set for myself. Name it weight loss and having a routine and eating better and all those other stuff. So that's, my outlook on that. It is hard. And why is it so hard for me? Because again, I have some healing to do where it's correlated, where I need to get over probably some limiting beliefs that's holding me back from those things. It's teaching me that I probably choose to be comfortable rather than to grow sometimes. Sometimes you rather just be safe and comfortable than to grow, because this is what you know, and the fear of the unknown is greater. It's way greater than, than just actually growing. So the fear of the unknown is keeping me stuck there. And but I do know in the back of my mind that we need to grow. I want to get past this. I would love to be 60 pounds lighter and having a sweet morning routine and being in a high spirit every day, probably having 2 to 3 hours before work to myself and feeling like I'm in control of my day. That is growth to me. And I do strive and have the inspiration to reach there at some point. Right. And that's some of the good things I think would come out once I overcome this hurdle of it and stuff like that. So I refuse to grow right now, and that's my angle on this topic. I'm refusing to grow, and I'm really guilty of it right now, because I'm not meeting the goals that I've set for myself, and I've constantly been letting myself down in that way. Definitely not proud of it, but I am being honest so that I can connect with my people who feel the same like I do. So I just open the floor now if you guys have any questions for me. and stuff. I think I've pretty much touched on what I feel about growth there. Yeah.
So, and yeah, I just wanna, thank you so deeply and genuinely for sharing. I know that a lot of the things you touched on there was not easy things to talk about. It took a lot of vulnerability. It took a lot of gumption because I feel like a lot of times we're more comfortable talking about things that are past as opposed to things that we may be currently facing. Um, so yeah, so just thank you so much for sharing that. And it just goes to show like the different avenues of growth that we could go down. That growth does not only encapsulate things that we have already overcome, challenges that we have already overcome, but growth happens in increments. It encapsulates things that are going on right now. And I wish
Yeah.
you all the best, nothing but the best in whatever your vision of growth is, whatever
Yeah.
your journey with growth is, to just you achieve that. Um, I guess my
Um,
yeah, sorry.
no, no, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I was gonna let you finish. But I had something else to say. I was gonna say that that's what life looks like for me right now because I'm looking and living it, what it looks like to refuse to grow, and it is harder. And the reason why it's harder is because I do feel that if I make the conscious efforts and take conscious steps to do what I need to do to make my life easier, I know what I need to do. However, I'm frozen by fear. I'm petrified. And I don't even know how to take those steps because I think step one will be trying to get over that fear. And then I can decide. But hopefully, I do overcome this challenge and I am able to share better in future episodes and like share how I got over that and stuff like that. But for now, I am going to take Travis's advice and probably look into some healing to help me with that. So, yeah.
So Travis, do you have anything to
Yeah,
ask or
am
share?
I allowed to curse?
What the
Yeah, I
hell?
mean,
I think this
Yeah,
should be a fishy podcast. What the fuck?
well, once it's,
yeah.
once it's not 8 seconds in, then yeah, sure.
Sorry.
There's this thing I hear people talk about where you can't curse in the first
Oh,
8 seconds, but yeah, you can curse after that.
okay, okay.
I mean, it
Yeah,
depends on the topic too. We could just stop, be like, "Hey, good morning." But I mean, I apologize for the audience and viewers that would be offended by that. We want this podcast to be the most unapologetic and the most authentic ever. And most of us probably have some potty mouths, but we hope that you can
yeah.
forgive us and hold space for us to express ourselves the way that we like. So, yeah.
I'm not sorry for the person who offended. When yeah, when you yes, screw them. When you said all that, I was like, what the hell? You are the most motherfucking badass bitch I know. I love you so in this I literally admire you. You have gone through so much. You literally picked yourself up and you just were left, migrated alone. You have balls to the wall more than anybody I know. You are the most badass bitch I know. And I just have to I want to hear some of I want to acknowledge how every time we speak is like you have grown through in an infinite number of things. One of the recent last meeting we had, you wanted to know how to not interrupt, and yet today you just kind of did that like so seamlessly. You've grown through immense number of things. I want to hear a situation you successfully grown through because you have gone through immense. It's this very
Oh,
guys.
so sweet.
Anya has been the first
Thank
person
you.
I ever worked with, and since then she shared so much with me about stuff she already grown through. I want to hear more of that stuff you
Okay.
successfully going through because there's been so much.
Yes, I appreciate that. And it's true, he's not lying. I did go through a lot. And I think the truth is, I am tired. I am so tired. Um, that's why I reached to the point where I am just not really even having the energy to even try right now. And I think that's the truth. I mean, it makes me emotional thinking about how tired I am. But at the point, that's the truth. That's the truth. That's why I wait till 7:55 to get out my bed to go to work because I'm just so tired. And that's because I feel like I put my best foot forward, but I'm not gonna lie about what knocked me down. Let me tell you what knocked me down and have me so flat in my face right now. I have grown through, because one of the questions is, what have I grown through? When I first moved here to America, I was really positive and excited about, probably forming some new relationships and having some connections that would help propel my life. And I really finally reached to a point where I was really happy with everything. I actually made two new girlfriends from work, and we had such a beautiful connection. And things were going really good with us until I met my ex. I think usually when you meet specific souls in your life, like it had just, those type of soul, like I meet this person, a lot of lessons was learned from this person. But the point is that I met my ex and then my life just went downhill from there. It was kind of like that, one of those stories. And nothing he did or anything like that. He just was being himself. However, we were not compatible, and I knew that because it wasn't enhancing my life in the way that I wish the relationship did. First of all, I lost my two girlfriends that I had that really did, made me feel really welcomed in America. And I was really looking forward to doing like a lot of fun activities with them. But long story short with that, I've grown through that pain. I've grown through that girlfriend breakup kind of thing. Part of what helped is that, yeah, I had my ex, but then now I'm still trying to heal and go through that relationship ending and how much that changed my life, that relationship, and trying to learn who I am outside of it. There's a lot of other things that happen in my life that I'm embracing. It looks like it's for the best because I'm feeling more happy about it than anything, especially recently. But it's like I've been through some stuff. And a lot of the time, what that did is plant a seed of fear, because I feel like before I've been through those stuff, I had this like wide eye puppy like, oh yeah, I can do this. I've grown. I'm accomplished. I'm this spiritual person who, been through crap. I've grown through. Another example of something I've grown through really tough was a traumatic, like kind of knock relationship with my parents. They a little bit slightly knock. And I grew through a lot of hurt from them. They are amazing people. They are amazing parents. I would never ever think that they're not nice people, but I've just been again hurt in a couple ways from them. And I've grown through that as well. And I'm not talking about just little small disappointments that, hey, you can't go see the movie with this friend. I'm talking about bawling my eyes out, gut wrenching, stomach wrenching pain that I've been feeling, and no one came to hug me at night, kind of thing. That I've grown through those kind of stuff. So I've been through a lot of pain in my life. I've been through a lot of pain. If I have to go through every experience, it would not be in 5 or 6 minutes on this platform. It would be hours and hours of chatting. So just to summarize things for you guys, I have grown through a lot. And I think at this point, as I said, that last blow was those last two relationships that I've been in that I just went in kind of wide-eyed puppy like, oh, this is amazing. And then now I feel like by being so innocent and being so trusting and being so loving and only allowing, oh my God, I'm having such a eureka moment right now. But this is a big lesson that I've learned from those relationships, is that I have to be very selective about who I let into my life and let into my space, and who I allow to give my energy to. But before I would give my energy to anybody, because I was so unconditionally loving and accepting, and I think by being hurt so many times, it just taught me. It taught me to after growing through it, now my lesson has been learned that I need to be selective. Not any and everybody deserve me. They don't. Because not everybody is going to handle me with care. And that's that.
I
I
appreciate that
think,
so
oh,
much.
sorry.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say that, Anya, you said so correctly that you know, one of your blockers and one of the generational blockers for growth is fear, and the fear of the unknown, the fear of I'm not willing to leave my comfort zone, the area that I know so well, and the life that I live right now. And I think that that fear is what holds people back from growing. And this is not just uh any thing, it's a general thing, you know. It is something that I feel in my own life. You know, the detractor for growing is the fear that what if I fail? What if I fall? What if I lose everything? What if there's nobody to help me? And yeah, I think that, you know, just talking about what you're saying about being more selective, what people you allow into your life. I think that we try to think that we need to bring people in so that we wouldn't be alone, we wouldn't go through something alone. But we allow these people to come in and they just make things worse, and we just end up being worse off for it. And that's just another detractor for growth, that they superimpose their problems into us. So not only are we dealing with our own fear of the unknown and fear of failure, but we're now dealing with their problems as well. And as human beings, our tendency is to fix them and focus on them and detract from ourselves, not focus on ourselves. So yeah, it's just a melting pot of issues, and it's something that, you know, I think, you know, when I first said that growth is a reflection, I think you grow through these moments of reflection, just like a eureka moment just now. And I think, you know, every time that you've had to go through something and you reflected on it and come up with your own solution or way forward, you have, as Travis said, been so successful at it. And that's why I have no doubt that whatever you're going through right now in your own time, and of course it'll be inspired by creator, um, that you will have your moments of growth. And yeah, I have no worries about that. And I'm willing to rock back and watch your beautiful blossoming and journey.
Thank you.
Yeah, Travis, sorry I interrupted you.
No, that's fine. You said everything so beautifully there. I just feel so upset that you're going through all of this, like being the amazing, like beautiful soul you are. And I just, which kind of is the empathy, which we could get into in the next one. Um, but I also want to say that it's everything you're going through, it's so valid. Um, I I don't know if I'll just go on to say I appreciate the vulnerability as well because it will allow the most natural healing to take place. And what you're going through, it's extremely valid. Um, because
Mhm.
I think a lot of people say a lot of crap about people who don't have successful relationships, and I find it's so much hogwash because um it really and truly, it's all in the life lessons that we choose. We need to acknowledge we chose to learn some really, really powerful lessons, and it came in really harsh ways. Hence, we have in this growth episode now, and it makes everything valid because there's a really powerful lesson under all of it every time that if there was not this lesson, it would not have been so hard. So we kind of need to acknowledge how valid it is, no matter quote unquote mistakes or whatever. It's so insanely valid. So that kind of got me riled up there and just feeling so upset in case there's any invalidity.
Yeah, thank you, Travis. And yeah, I understand you're upset. I mean, I would be too. I am because I'm going through it, and I really do empathize with that, with you. And that's just part of my love for you. You just have so much compassion and understanding for other people. So I appreciate that. Thank you.
Well, thank you.
So, and before we move on to my segment, do you have anything else you want to say? Any concluding thoughts or anything?
No, I think I pretty much said everything I needed to, and I shared my best take on the topic, on what it means. And yeah, I would love to hear about yours, though, Jared. So take it away.
Okay, so everybody called me out here, and so far when they said when I proposed the topic of growth, but I I'll go into very briefly why I propose and how I think it links and is attuned. Because if it's one thing everybody would come to learn about the three of us, is that we only do things that feel attuned when it comes to our work that we do with theta. And for anybody who's not aware of what theta is, it's just aligning with creator and trying to seek his best interest on the matter for us. And it's of course guided by our own wants and needs. And that brings me to the two most important questions, I think, in my personal opinion, has to deal with growth. And the first one is, are you aware of your own needs? And the second one, do you know if your current needs are being met? So I love giving homework. I love setting challenges for people to meet. So anybody listening who feels inspired to do so, I would take note of these two questions and just do some reflection. And if you have any spare time, and just think it over, because I think this would be important. Are you aware of your own needs? And do you know if your current needs are being met? Because I guarantee, whereas the surface answer that we think is, yes, I know my needs, I want this, I want that, I want the other. Most of the time it's probably money or time that we want. But I think that if we do a little bit more introspection, we would find out that our needs go so much deeper than just time and money. We want more time because we're focusing on sometimes the wrong things, or we're prioritizing the wrong things in our life. We focus on, and I'm not saying this for every case, of course not. There are some people with genuine circumstances that they don't have enough time in their day to do whatever they need to get done. But I think that a lot of people, in my experience that I know, they have the time. It's just that they are focusing on the wrong things, and they will come in time to realize that. The money thing, I think that's a situational thing in terms of everybody needs more money right now. The current climate we're in, everybody needs a little bit more. But we'll get into that when we talk about empathy later on. But I think that for me, just reason why growth is our first topic is that everything that we've touched on has to do with the reflection we have of where we started and where we're going. And I wanted to do that here in the first inaugural episode because this is our start point of something new. And we are going to measure our growth as we go forward, as things continue. So we have to acknowledge where we're starting in order to express our gratitude for where we end up or where we are going. And how many times do you express gratitude in your life, or do you have the opportunity to express gratitude in your life for where you are versus where you were yesterday or 10 days ago when things were a little bit more murky? And I think we have this unique option right now presented to us where we can acknowledge that. We can acknowledge our needs and our wants, and if they're being met, and then move forward and then say, okay, if we want our needs to be met, we need to do X, we need to do Y, we need to do Z. And we could make these certain deliverables or goalposts that we can aim for. Because I think for a lot of us, and I'm going to get into me now, I promise, guys, that we focus too much on this massive big picture that is so unattainable because we don't take the time to look at the smaller things that we can do to fix our circumstances, the smaller things that we could prioritize so that we could have little victories throughout the day to just motivate us to aim for the bigger things. Because the bigger things will happen. It just may not happen in the timing that we always consider it. And to give the perfect bow on that, I'll talk about my experience with growth. So I have always thought that having ambition and being ambitious is a good thing. And it is. Don't get me wrong, it is a good thing. It's a great thing. But as my uncle always says, our worst qualities are our best ones, just turned up a little too high. So it is a good thing to be ambitious, but it's a bad thing when you are so ambitious that you cannot express gratitude for the circumstances that you are right now. And that is something that I have struggled with my entire life. I have struggled with the fact that every time I achieve something, and whether it be big or small, I cannot just take time to just enjoy that feeling because I'm always looking at what is next. And looking at what is next is important, yes, but it cannot take away from the happiness that comes with achieving something. Because I'll tell you what happens when you don't acknowledge that you should be happy. You come to this point in life when you think, nothing I ever do is good enough because I achieved this and then I am left in the cold wanting something more, And I think that for me, that moment came out when I was just so unhappy in my life and I was just trying to blame external factors. I lived a comfortable life, I'll be very honest. I lived a very comfortable life, but because I always wanted more and I was never satisfied with what I had, that I just became so unhappy. And I love running. So I was running around the park a day and I just thought to myself, why can't I bloody get it right? What is wrong with me? And then it's almost like I went internally and like I was taken from wherever I was and went internally. And I was sitting down with a younger version of myself and he was crying his eyes out. And he was just bawling, why was I never enough for you? Why was nothing I ever did good enough for you? And it was at that point in time I felt so sorry because you know what it's like looking at a child who is bawling his eyes out and telling you that you never were happy with him or her or them. It's a heartbreaking thing. Like it's just that innocence is just taken away because it was always an aim for ambition, an aim for more, almost greed. What is greed but ambition turned up too high? Because you want more. You're never satisfied. You're never happy because you never could appreciate the things that you have. So my growth moment, my moment of reflection came then when I saw myself and I asked myself, why was I never enough for me? I could go and blame so many people, but that's not going to solve the problem. I could blame people who put pressure on me to get things done because I've always had that. I've always had people who expected more from me. And I've been told that a lot, but that is not their problem. It's my problem for me. That I listened to them, did not focus on my needs, didn't acknowledge or was aware, show awareness of what my needs were. So how can I understand if my needs were being met or not? So my moment of reflection came at that point in time when I saw myself and I was crying. And I just reached that moment of breaking point. And I was so upset that I allowed myself to get to that point where I drove myself miserable because of all this ambition and greed that I had. And growth came from that moment. It was when I reflected on, I need to just learn how to accept more. Accept that what I have, accept that sometimes I'm not going to meet my mark and that's okay. But just don't give up. But just show an appreciation for having been there, having made it so far. That it's okay to not meet your goals sometimes. But never ever punish yourself as long as you continue trying. And to me, that's what growth is. Growth is not something that can be solved instantly. Growth is just looking at where you are now and thinking about where you were the day before and just continue trying to do a little bit better. We always aim to start off doing 10 push-ups a day. But some people can't do that. Some people cannot make 10 push-ups a day. Some people could only make one, and that's okay. Some people can't make one. But you start off, you try your best, and one day, whether it be creators will or not, you will get there. And then you can celebrate that. Don't just focus on trying to make two. Just celebrate that. And then you know what? Show up the next day and try for two. If you can, great. If you can't, then try again the next day. But just try to do a little bit better. But don't punish yourself if you fail once you continue trying, once you continue doing your best. And some days, if your best isn't good enough, or if you can't make your best that day, that's fine. Just show a little bit more compassion for yourself. I think that, in all of our points of view today, we kind of talked about our moments of reflection, where for Travis, it was that you were having several thoughts about suicide. Sorry, no, you didn't reach that phase. Sorry, let me not misrepresent you. That you, had it not been the intrusion of healing, that you could have felt yourself going down that negative path. But the reflection came in, the healing came in when you started to celebrate your individuality. For Enya, it's that feeling of being stuck, but you realize that it came from a place of fear. That could only come from you reflecting on your circumstance and realizing that it's fear is what inspired that not wanting to grow or change, despite you having done significant growth so far.
Mhm.
And for me, it was always wanting more and realizing that it always wanting more. Greed was not making me happy. So I would challenge each and every one of you out there to take some time and reflect on what your needs are. Are they being met? Yes, Travis.
Yeah, I love that. I appreciate that. Is it okay if I like lovingly ask? All right, so we kind of we all kind of been receiving the advice on what to do when we're trying to practice more acceptance of this part of us and stuff, right? I
Mhm.
wanna But the thing is, that's what we keep getting from, society. They keep telling us what to do, right? I want to hear more about if it's okay to ask, because so many people listening, right? They'll feel so isolated when they go through this journey of having to, accept themselves. I want to know more about how did this impact your life, the lack of acceptance. In terms of were there any really triggering points and really difficult moments you had to where everything kind of collapsed in terms of it it kind of forced you into the acceptance more. I want to know how you grew through that, what that was like. How was that received from like your parents and whoever taught you to not grow? I kind of want to hear more, I guess, more vulnerability so that people who are listening don't feel isolated by only the advice,
Okay, so um all right. So I'm not gonna name names because I don't want anybody to feel like, badly, if they happen to listen to this, to feel badly that they caused my unhappiness. Um, but it was a lot of external pressure in my personal life and in my work life, that feeling of I was not doing enough, or that, and this is like from since I was very young, in school, when I would, achieve a certain mark, I would be told that, I was capable of more. One comment that a lot of teachers always give is that he's bright, but he could achieve so much more if he just focuses more. Um, and it was always that word more. I want more. I can do more. I can achieve more. Um, he he deserves more, and I think that that was what the trigger became: more, 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 more. And it just started to collapse around me at that point in time, because growing up with it, I then became very greedy at, when did I have this moment? When I was about in my mid-20s, and probably a little bit before that. And I was just running because I ran, because when I run, I think more clearly. My thoughts become, I can reflect better. That's my me time, as Anya was saying, how me time earlier, like that was my me time, my running. And in that, I just started to realize that this wanting more, why can't I have more? It just became, when is it going to be enough? So what did it look like? It looked like a bunch of pressure that was first applied externally. And this was in my, directly from my boss, from people in my life that I was really close to, that kept asking me to show up more for them. And I couldn't even show up for myself. So showing up for them was taking everything, and I felt so drained. And, the fact that in work, I was working 10-hour days, 11-hour days, and my boss just was expecting more output. Why aren't you doing more? You could be doing better, this and that and the other. And it just became like a bunch of me internalizing that and being like, I am not doing enough. I need to be doing more. And that pressure from myself then drove myself to give my energy away to other people and other things. And I was no longer attuning to my own needs. I then became like a shell. Like I was no longer almost human in certain regards. So I was tired all the time. I was very drained. I was not able to show up for myself. I put myself second behind this ambition for more. And it just became this drive. And I was no longer me. And that's why when I saw myself, how haggard I look, and my younger self, how sad he looked, that's what the moment was. So and I don't know if I answered your question, Travis, but that was what was going on. That's what led to it. A lot of pressure of not being enough.
All right, cool. Yeah, much appreciated, Jared.
You want me to explain anything further on that?
No, I'm good. How about you, Anya?
Anya, you're muted. Okay, probably she's busy right now. So, Travis, I just wanted to, let's just basically, if you guys have no more questions, like the last closing thoughts I had on it was that I still sometimes feel this call to be more, to be, more ambitious, to be doing more, to achieve a better balance between different things. But I think that the way how I deal with it, the way how I accept things are going on with it, is exactly what I said before. I just try to do a little bit better than I did the day before, and my growth does not need to be anything fantastic in a short space of time. It just means that I show up for myself, I attune to my needs, I listen to what my heart, my head is saying, and I try to just become a little bit closer to what I think my sole purpose is, and try a little bit harder every day. But I never stop trying.
Sorry about that. I went to the bathroom for a quick sec. But yeah, I did have some questions.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's too late, but yeah.
Yeah, you want to run through them quickly?
Yeah, no, just one. I just wanted to kind of resonate a little bit more with what you were saying about ambition and how it just, it's like greed on steroids. That's interesting. And I wanted to understand like what tips, or you said you had like a higher self meditation that helped inspire your whole motion towards becoming differently and better, and that's how you would measure you growing from that challenge, because it was a struggle for you to basically like allow yourself to sit in gratitude for a while and stuff like that. But more so, my question would be, like, what are the active steps that you like? How did you allow yourself to just move out from that? And like, what active things that you did to actively grow? How did you measure your growth, or is it just you saying like you grew from it because you no longer feel the need to be overly ambitious? Like, that really was my question.
Okay, so I think that it's a process for everyone. And I think that the running theme with a lot of what we're going to talk about is, for me, is perspective. So one of my thoughts on something that you were saying, and yeah, actually, was that you know that you've made growth in certain areas, but it's not the areas that you wanted to grow in. And I think that that is where perspective comes into play, because Travis can see a growth, I can see a growth, and I think you can as well, but it's because it's not exactly the way you want to grow in, that is what is you may be considered holding you back. And so my main response is just that I had to do a lot of perspective changing. I had to realize that not everything goes according to the timeline I had in my head, and that I have to acknowledge these steps that I'm making forward whilst achieving some level of growth alongside it. So I may not be, I'm an engineer, right? So I may not be able to finish the report today because I have a lot more design and research to do and to figure out how these things are going to work. But at least I am a little bit closer to the answer than I was yesterday. And it's not going to happen. Inspiration doesn't come in your time. It comes in its own time when things are meant and aligned to happen. So my main response to that is to anybody who's struggling with their own growth, that they're not meeting the requirements, is that I would say that no matter how hard you try, certain things are not going to happen before it's meant to happen. I have been in a happy relationship for the last 3 years, but before that, my love life was terrible. And I tried to force a lot of things, but it didn't happen. I didn't meet my person. In fact, I met my person before she and I started dating. I've met her when I was in university, but it took us a while for us to grow into who we were supposed to be before we reconnected. Had we connected before then, or started the day before then, I don't think we would have been very successful at all. We needed to grow. I needed to grow. And I needed to grow on my own, in my own time, before I became the man that she chooses, and before she became the woman that I choose. And love cannot be forced. And love is just an example of so many things that cannot be forced before its time. Our paths that we're on right now, each and every one of us, was something else before it changed to what it is now. And it may change again, but it's going to change in its own time. So just be a little bit compassionate with yourself, because yes, things may not be going according to your own time, but that may be because it's not the right time. So, and did that answer the first part at least of your question?
Yeah, that did for sure. Yes, thank you.
So I would just say, to summarize, just be a little bit more compassionate with your time, that things will happen when it's meant to. And two, maybe we need to change our perspective on what our growth is, because it's not, a fish is never going to be able to climb a tree, because it's not meant to do that. Even no matter how hard it wants to, it's not going to be able to do it. But it's meant to swim in the ocean. And that's just something that a lot of other animals cannot do. So it needs to be compassionate about its own growth markers, not other people's.
Yeah, I think that's a very important takeaway point. with that, with respect to growth and measuring it and stuff, if you are doing an external reflection and only measuring growth by comparing what other people see and what you think other people will want, so I need to have these things accomplished by this date or this age because this will make me more acceptable by my family or society or my friends. That is not growth. That's just probably ambition. And then also we have to be careful because you can have ambition on steroids, like how Mr. Jared nicely put it there for us. So I think it's more along the lines of just you being the two questions, Jared, that you gave for homework. Can you repeat that? And I think
Yeah.
that's what growth is, those two questions, and making sure that you move towards those two questions.
Right. So the two questions are once again, are you aware of your own needs? You may want to earn a six-figure salary, but is that what you need right now to be happy, truly happy? And the second question is, do you know if your current needs are being met? I think for a lot of us, the answer to that is no. But we first need to acknowledge what our needs are in order to figure out a plan for how we can meet our needs. And please, people, don't only depend on others to meet your needs.
Yeah, that's
Try,
another thing too.
yeah, try to meet your own needs in some way. Don't put that pressure on other people. Try to meet your own needs.
I think that's another topic
Yeah, yeah, it
on the
is.
future as well.
I
Hmm.
agree,
So,
guys.
yeah,
Is it okay
Travis,
if I
can
ask you guys now, uh, based on what you're going through in life now, how would you ideally like to grow through? So like for me, I want to learn to grow through more self-acceptance. So what that is for you guys?
Well, obviously for me, it would have been growing through learning to accomplish my goals, my personal goals that I set for myself, which is I want to currently grow through losing some weight and then also establishing a morning routine. I think the routine will be my first and biggest goal to grow through because growth will be doing that routine every day. And I think the actions that I'm going to perform in that routine is going to help me get closer to my goals. So, yeah.
I think for me, my major growth would come through learning not only acceptance, as you said, I think that's an excellent one, self acceptance, but it's also through focus. Sometimes I feel so unfocused, even on the things that I want to focus on. And my mind wanders a lot. And we are going to get into that topic in another episode. But I think that my growth will come through self acceptance of my limitations and my needs, and acknowledging them, how to meet them, but also learning a little bit more, focusing on the good, focusing on my needs, focusing on my attunement. So, yeah.
All right. So are you guys ready for the theta healing part? Or is there anything left to discuss?
Yeah, I think we could go straight into the healing that we have for everyone. We have a general
Yeah.
conscious healing right now.
So before we do that, Travis, I just want to give a short, brief explanation of what we're going to do now, as that's okay.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes, please do.
Yeah, so guys, sorry, people, every time that we have a talk like this, Enya Travis and I, we like to have like a general meditation where we just set a safe space to allow healing to happen. What we're going to do here is a little expedited version of that, but we let, creator and source energy lead everything. And we just let the space happen for healing, occur for healing. So if you at home are listening, or whatever space you may be in, I know some people may listen to this while driving or so on. I wouldn't ask you who are doing things that you need to be focused on to close your eyes or anything like that, but just try to imagine a safe space wherever you are, and just try to create that safe space and listen to Travis's words, focus on his words, and yeah, just let the healing happen. Just believe in the process. So yeah, take it away, Travis.
All right, thanks so much, Jared. That was so beautifully explained because I was gonna get super technical there. I'm so happy you brought that. All right, so guys, I would say have something to drink, have something nourishing, to drink, eat. All right, just to begin to, preferably to drink. All right, because you can happen faster. Just to bring this nourishment to your body, right? Because we're going to ask our bodies to open up now and become more receptive towards love, because essentially God is unconditional love, all right? So let me know when you guys are ready.
I'm ready. I'm ready whenever you are.
Ready, Anya?
Yes.
All right. All right, so that's cool. So we're gonna take a nice deep breath in. Release. And we're gonna do the expansion method, right? So with every in breath, all right, I know it might seem kind of fast, but we're always meant to be connected to God, universe, Allah, Jesus, or Krishna, whatever you wish to call this energy. All right, we're always meant to be connected to it. So on the in breath, we're going to imagine our consciousness expanding more and more and more. And on the exhale, we're just going to release what we need to let go of more, right? Any resistances, right? So I'm going to just connect to a quick one to get us in and fully connected. So nice in breath. Imagine energy expanding through this room and beyond this room. On on the exhale, just release, begin to release and let go of any resistances and fears. On the in breath, now breathe and expand beyond the city you live in and the country. Somehow you're able to zoom out like a satellite, right? And we're able to keep zooming out on every in breath. Maybe get to expand more and zoom out more, yeah? So let's release now. Let's exhale and let go of whatever, right? On the in breath again, breathe in and zoom out, really far out, really fast beyond this entire planet, just like that, just because we can, just feel yourself zooming out more and more and more beyond this galaxy and beyond the stars and the universe. Just feel yourself zooming really far out, really fast. All right. And it's okay if it feels fast, because there it just happens naturally this way, and just somehow imagine, visualize yourself going now, expanding beyond this universe that we live in, right? You begin to imagine some bright lights and some darker lights, of all different sizes and shapes of light, right? So let's just zoom on past this, and you'll begin to see a golden light, right? This is the realm of Ascended Masters, but let's just zoom past all of it, right? And just keep going, and you'll begin to feel now and sense pink light of compassion ahead. Let's zoom into this now, yeah, because this is what really helps us to really release. On the exhale, I really want you to let go of any resistances, baggage, stuff like that. Any fears, uncertainty, worries, doubts, failures, any misperceptions we have, any self-criticism, any self-hatred, any any of that stuff, right? Let's just release this on the exhale. On the inhale, breathe more compassion into your body now, into your field. Just feel what it feels like. That compassion gets to have a space in your life. So, and we can just become one with compassion. Now, on the inhale, just feel yourself becoming lighter. Right? Exhale now, and just release. Yeah, release the any stuff we're holding on to. More and more and more and more until we become so light, so airy fairy, so free that we get to rise so freely into beyond this, which is the pure white light of divine consciousness, universe, God. Right, we're actually able to expand into this, right? It's our birthright. So just feel what see and sense that there's this light of divine infinity. It's like infinite love, infinite compassion, infinite connection to spirit and source, and just feel what it feels like to be connected to this universe. So the first thing we're feeling is, can we now just teach you and show you, all right? If you would like these beliefs, these feelings, guys, just say yes out loud to acknowledge that you're expressing your divine right to feel these things. Can we so I'm gonna utter a prompt here. I'm just gonna ask you if can we show you what it feels like to be fully connected to God at this time? It's safe to connect to God, and it's your birthright as well. Oh, nice in breath. And take a next really big deep breath here, because we just really want to feel safe, that it's safe to connect with God in this easy way. On the exhale, just begin to release any fears, hesitations. I'm kind of picking up on just being afraid to connect to God so easy, because it kind of triggers the growth process that we're meant to take a long time before we get to connect to God. So on the exhale, can we just begin to let go of that now? So guys, what happened is, the feeling that we wish to feel now is at once come through for us to feel, right? This energy will flow if you say yes, if you really want this. All right, the feeling is can the divine, right, creator of all that is, universe, whatever you wish to call it, show us now what it feels like, that it gets to be easy, that it's safe for us to grow through ease without suffering, without pain. It actually gets to be easy now. So I invite you to take a nice big deep breath in and feel what it feels like that growth gets to be easy, right? Effortless, through joy, compassion, fun, liveliness, and insight. All right. So what I'm getting now is that what will allow this to be easy now, feel, see, and sense these deep insights, intuition flowing through you now at this time. Would you like this? Just give me a nice big yes if you would like this, so that we get to learn to know how to live life, to grow through more joy, ease, flow in more effortless ways. And take a nice exhale and release the struggle. Release the struggle now, or release any sadness, any struggle, any depression. And wrong, my life is hard. My life is a struggle. My life is worthless. My life is never-ending torture. My life is pain, endless pain. There's no hope for me. Can we just release all of that? So I just want you to, like, on the in-breath, draw in a nice, big, beautiful wave of light and love from the divine, just so that the divine could teach you and show you what it feels like. It's this feeling, this knowing, this deep knowingness that we actually do know what it feels like to. We already know what it feels like to grow through ease. This feeling was always dormant within us. We just chose to live life through suffering and pain. So can we release really small of the resistance now, and the baggages we hold around life getting to be easy, graceful, fun, effortless, right? Now, can we receive now, guys? Can we now receive the insights, the guidance, the intuition we've been desperately seeking out in our lives? And take a nice in breath now. I might pause for a moment just for you to receive this intuition, this insight, all right, on ways we can live our lives with much more ease, grace, and fun, joy. All right, so I'm gonna pause now and just take a nice in breath and listen and receive. So Creator, all of this, it is asked to show us, yeah, this in graceful, easy ways. Alright, guys, so you may have gotten an insight there. If not, please feel free to pause it. I'll come back to it. We just wanna now release the any ways in which we make it difficult for ourselves to live life in easier ways. Alright, can we release this now, guys, and give me a nice big yes if you like this? Can we release our own resistances to living life easier? Can we now receive the more divine guidance to help us live life more easily? So I'm really getting more. Can the divine show us now how to live, how to allow nourishment to be one of the ways we get to live life easier. It feels like the more nourished we feel and we become, life gets to become easier. Would you guys like this? Nice in breath. Oh, and receive, receive, receive. I want you now to take one more and breathe this deeply down through your spine, down throughout your entire body. So all of you gets to know this. All right, nice in breath. Oh, and breath deep. Nice and deep in breath. Actually, breathe down spine. Breathe this through your body. Let your body be nourished here. Receive the nourishment of insight, intuition, and the connection with the future you who's already nourished and living life easier. All right, so let's receive this. I know that's a bit advanced there, but just feel connections with more nourishment, more nourishing ways we can live life, which allows life to flow more easily. Would you like this? Oh, and nice in breath. So can we release one more time? Alright, this is like deep within the solar plexus, ways in which we choose to live a life of pain, alright? We kind of manifest a painful life because we've known this for so long to live life, alright, in this painful way. So can we release this deep from our solar plexus now? It's this deep, like, this deep thing around having to strive to be like worthy, and it really is that if we let go of that and we could just let ourselves be nourished, right? Breathe more, we will really get to feel more of what it feels like to live an easy life. So just take nice in breath here. So now I'm going to ask Creator, can we receive now more action steps or more divine guidance, more intuition, more knowingness? Can we now receive more knowingness on how to live, grow through ease? Can we now receive more this knowingness, how to live through more ease, grace, joy, and fun, and what it truly feels like? So just begin to receive here. Feel the lesson. What's the lesson in this, guys? The lesson in going through this whatever we're going through right now. Begin to feel, see, and sense what's the lesson. What's the lesson in the thing we've made it so difficult to learn, alright? What's the lesson behind this? All right, and I hope that came up for everyone. All right, if not, then please pause it and just feel this out and listen more. Can you define now show us how to have more empathy and compassion for ourselves? And can we now activate this lesson now at this time with grace and ease? Would you like this? Oh, so guys, feel this, feel it and sense this, that we now get to activate a lesson of self-acceptance, self-compassion, self-fulfillment, joy, laughter, fun, ease, and grace. I'm also feeling more nurturing energy. I'm feeling more revitalization coming in here, reconnections, rehabilitations. I'm feeling here, guys, so just keep taking nice big in breaths, more connection to source, more connections to God, more connections to the divine and the universe and our team in spirit, our friends and family and souls we're meant to connect with, and bring these soulful connections and this to have to all allow this with grace and ease. All right. Oh, so guys, I hope you felt this. Thank you so much for listening. All right, please let us know how you feel in the comments. I hope you guys enjoyed, and thank you so much for listening.
Thank you guys, and we will see you soon.
Yes, it was wonderful chatting here today. I hope that everything you said resonated, and I wish you guys a really wonderful rest of your time.
Don't forget to tune to your needs. Pay attention to how you're feeling. You are very much important and needed and loved. So just focus on that and focus on how can you attune better to your own needs. That's how you grow.